So, hello, Mr. DeHaan. First of all, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and being with us today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. It's nice weather in Canada, so summer has started.
Yeah, a bit of heat, warmth. It's good.
Yeah.
First of all, also the Lufthansa Group has been a very important partner of airports in Canada, and especially the airport de Montréal. Just to give us an understanding of Lufthansa Group's position, could you tell us about the standing of Lufthansa Group in Quebec and in Canada as well?
Yeah. So the overall Lufthansa Group in Canada is one of the leading aviation groups in Canada. So, as an example, last summer we operated more than 60 weekly flights from gateways of Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, and Calgary, 60 a week. And we were just going to start actually a seasonal service from Ottawa to Frankfurt as well, in addition to the 4 gateways that we have this year. Unfortunately, that had to be postponed. And in Montreal, we have all the group carriers were represented: Lufthansa, Austrian Airlines, Swiss, and also Brussels Airlines was set to launch their services. And that makes actually Montreal only in a handful of gateways where all the group airlines are offering service. So that's actually quite unique.
Oh, really? Huh. Now, Lufthansa, like all in the aerospace sector and the air travel industry, has been hit very hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. We're now entering almost our 4th month of the crisis. Could you tell us how the pandemic has affected the Lufthansa Group in terms of flight schedules, bookings, etc.?
Yeah, for the Lufthansa Group, all the flight services came to a grinding halt at one point in time. So the capacity was dramatically reduced to all our destinations. Aircraft were parked on the tarmac. But now that we're 4 months in, we're starting our service back up again. We fly again to 3 Canadian gateways with service. Interestingly, though, we had during this time we did a lot of repatriation flights, and it was amazing to see that Lufthansa, we had at one point in time 3 aircrafts, 2 wide-body aircraft sitting in Christchurch in Auckland, New Zealand, which we have never flown to in the history of Lufthansa. So we brought back a lot of Germans home, basically, to be with their families again.
Yeah.
But right now things are ramping up. We are flying back again to over 100 cities, and the capacity is, of course, not at the full strength that we would like it to be. But we have to start somewhere. So Vancouver is now being served again. So is Montreal. So is Toronto, and then we'll slowly ramp up as demand increases.
Going back to the repatriation flights, we've all seen this massive effort from the German Federal Foreign Office, who've repatriated hundreds of thousands of stranded German tourists around the world. Fortunately, we didn't need any repatriation flights from Canada. But focusing on Canada, how were you able to help customers who wanted to rebook their flights, or whose flights were canceled, or who were stranded?
The stranded passengers were not that many, because there was still some lifts with our partner, Air Canada. But as far as rebooking is concerned, we had, of course, our call centers were active. Also, our travel agents are one of our big distribution entities that we use. So travel agents were also able to rebook passengers on different flights. So overall, so a specific repatriation flight into Canada was not necessary.
Okay. Now you've mentioned that flights are picking up slowly. What measures has the Lufthansa Group taken to ensure all the safety protocols for the customers, either by flying or even on the ground at airports?
Yeah, so what is very important right now for a passenger to travel, a passenger has to feel safe. So we've done a lot of measures in order to create that feel of safety, that people feel safe. So on board, everybody will wear a mask, including the crew, also the cockpit crew and the cabin crew, but also all the passengers. That's now mandatory to wear a mask.
Okay.
We have enhanced all our cleaning procedures of the aircraft in between flights. And now, just recently, we have partnered with Centogene, which is a German company, and they provide COVID-19 testing in Frankfurt and Munich. So this allows a customer to be able to get tested when you get to Germany, and if you have a negative result, so that you don't have the COVID-19 virus, you can avoid the self-quarantine that also is in effect in Germany. Okay. But also on the ground, we do a lot. We have the boarding process has been changed. We board the aircraft now from the back first, so we don't want to cluster any of the gates or the bridges. So we're trying to avoid as much physical contact, be it the passengers or the crew, as much as we can to avoid any possibility of virus spreading.
Okay, and is the Lufthansa Group, are they giving the mask, or are the travelers, do they have to?
Everybody should bring their own mask, but of course we will have masks on board as well. If people don't have one, we will supply that, but also all kinds of other little goodies that we give, to hand sanitizer, and there will also be the lavatories will be differently sanitized. So there's a lot of measures being done just to keep the passenger as safe as possible.
And we've seen as well during the pandemic that it's not only travelers, but we saw a lot of essential goods being transported by airplane, like personal protective equipment. How has the Lufthansa Group contributed to those important air transports?
Yeah, we have operated several. We have a full cargo division with freighters, full freighters aircraft. But we've also used our regular passenger aircraft and modified them in order to take on more cargo. The cargo business has been good. There's a lot of necessity for cargo transportation. And we have transported a lot of these goods pretty much all over the world, into Asia, Europe, South America. So yeah, we've been a huge contributor to also get the proper medical supplies into the world.
Yeah, it's safe to say that the air transport industry in Lufthansa, the Lufthansa Group, has been essential for the fight against COVID, with all these medical equipment and protective equipment being flown everywhere around the world. And you've mentioned briefly the restarting of flights in Canada and going towards Europe as well. What are Lufthansa Group's plans for the rest of this year and the following year?
Yeah, we'll continue to increase our service and increase our flight operations to enhance more capacity into the cities that we fly to. We have of course, extensive network before the pandemic, and we're going to do everything that we can to get that network back to where it was. It's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, but important is that we start at least flying to all these destinations, maybe with limited capacity, but at least that the cities in the world are online. And as that happens, we will increase capacity as demand warrants it. So if you look for Canada, for instance, I mentioned already, we have our 3 gateways back online. We fly 3 flights a week to each individual gateway. And that will slowly increase to 5. And hopefully by September, October, we'll be back to daily flights, what we were before.
Okay. Now, a more personal question. How do you relax in these stressful times? As senior director of the Lufthansa Group Canada, a lot of us have turned to Netflix or home movies. How do you relax?
Yeah, it's pretty stressful because we have a lot of meetings, a lot of conference calls. My team basically, we're not in the office. We all work from home, including
Mhm.
myself. So we're on a lot of calls and a lot of, we still have to manage the business, but there is. Yeah, to relax, I do watch a bit of Netflix, some documentaries that I've maybe wanted to see for a long time. I read some more books. I'm not in traffic to the office, which is actually nice, so I have a bit more time. And I take my bike out a lot. I like to
Mhm.
ride my bike, and then I can create as much speed as I want. It's up to me how fast I want.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you very much, Mr. DeHaan, for the short interview. It's very much appreciated. Would you like to add anything else?
No, my pleasure. It's always nice to talk about the business and what's going on. There is a lot going on in the world with this pandemic, and we will have to get at one point in time there will be a vaccine for this. And people want to travel. You know, there is no doubt about that. So the business will come back. It will come back strong. We have to be patient, but Lufthansa Group will certainly be on the forefront of this recovery.
Mm-hmm. Well, we wish you the very best for your restart and for a eventual 100% capacity flights and travel. Yeah, the very best.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thank you.